Welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and it's Sunday the 11th of December. Wow, isn't the year going by quickly? We're almost at Christmas, almost ready for our stockings to be hung up. Yeah, alright, okay. Day 11 of the Advent calendar, and no surprise because this was predicted on the list of upcoming things. The KV5 is today's special offer. So that is the beautiful tier 8 Russian heavy tank. I think it's one of the most fun tanks in the game personally, particularly when you platoon up with other people driving a KV5. A wonderful beastie of a tank. Let's have a look at the package. Unfortunately, it appears you can only buy this as a package. There's no individual tank, which is a black mark in my book against Wargaming. So you get the tank, garage slot, and 3,450 gold, which I suppose is fairly useful for £33.60 or just shy of €40. Yeah, it's a shame they're doing that. I don't know why they have to do that, because if they sold that individually, it would be an absolute must-buy from my book. Putting it with a whole load of gold, unless you need the gold, I don't know, less attractive. But still, I think personally, you know, £33 for a tier 8 premium tank is not awful. Let's have a look at it in the wiki site, see what it's like. Okay, so the KV5 has some of the most hit points of any tier 8 tank, 1780. It weighs 100 tons. It's a massive, great slab of things. In fact, before the Japanese obese tanks arrived, this thing was probably the heaviest there was in the game. Being 100 tons, it's a great ramming machine. It's good for training your Russian super heavy tanks. It's got a good layout: commander, gunner, driver, radio man, and 2 loaders, which is the same as the KV4s and KV3s of this world, which is great. Engine power of a massive 1200. Needs to have a big engine to move 100 tons around, but that does allow it to get to a top speed of 40. Now it takes a while to get there because its power ratio is only 11.9. Well, I say only 11.9, that's not too bad. So if you can get a run up and you can get to 40k, you can imagine what damage you can do with a 100-ton tank coming flying down the hill. 18 degrees per second traverse is not great, however. It's really all about the armour on the KV5. You've got 180, 150, 140, and the turret 180, 180, 180. Now they are flat surfaces largely, but boy, does this combination of the hit points and the armor means this thing can take a real pounding, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's great fun to drive. You can drive along, you'll take a lot of punishment, and you'll give out a fair bit. The gun isn't outstanding. It's 107mm, which is kind of the one you get on the KV4, I think. 167 penetration is not great at all. 219 with APCR, does 300 damage each time, but I find the gun's not that awful. I quite like. I carry a lot of premium on mine, but I don't use it all the time. I know people who do just spam gold in it. I don't think that's necessary. 167. You know, if you could aim at the right points. And it has got preferential matchmaking, this tank, so you won't see tier 10s. So you know, generally you can do reasonably well on it. 7 rounds per minute is a good rate of fire. Gives you a 2,100 DPM. Very good indeed. Aim time 0.43 is not great. Accuracy 0.43, not very great. And aim time of 2.8 is not great either. But mostly you're going to do your damage up close, where that doesn't matter so much. Turret traverse of 21 degrees per second is slow, but it's a great big heavy tank. And gun depression of -7, elevation of +22. Carries a lot of rounds. 60 ammo is very good. View range, it can't see very well, 350 meters. And signal range is 440, which is also not great. So positives: Armour's horrifyingly strong to those who don't know its weak spots. Yeah, and it's a really good sized scraper, that's true as well. Very large hit pool, largest of all tier 8s, yeah. Surprisingly excellent top speed, 40 kph, combined with heavy armour makes it a deadly rammer. Acceptable rate of fire and good DPM versus other tier 8s. Contradicted by bad penetration, however, and minimum matchmaking. Yeah, it makes the point. 167mm of penetration wouldn't go far in a tier 10 match. That's very true. The cons: 107 gun is very inaccurate with dreadful pen. It's true. The R2D2 turret is large and a very thin weak spot. Now that has been buffed. So it's not as weak as it was. They still are a little bit weak, but they have been buffed a lot. Very sluggish hull and turret traverse. Yeah, you will get circled by light tanks and even some medium tanks. Which is why, again, it's good to be in a platoon. If there's 2 or 3 of you together, you can support each other well, and that's really where this tank is great fun, I think. Very easy to spot and hit due to the gargantuan size, almost impossible to hide. That's very true. Camo, forget it. This is the size of a continent, and RT will love you because, like all tanks, it's got very little armour on the top. It's all at the front and the sides. Armour is very thick and also has no sloping, so any gun with a plus 200 pen will almost always punch through you. Yeah, so in tier 9 games it's going to be harder, but you know, no tank is perfect in this game. I think the KB5 is an excellent tank. I don't like the fact they bundled it. I don't know why you can't just buy the tank alone. But if there was one tank, I would say that if I had to get rid of all my premiums and just keep one, I would probably keep the KB5. Not because it's the best tank in the garage, because it's not, but because it's just so much fun to play, and particularly in a platoon. And for me, World of Tanks is as much a social game as it is, a war game. So having something that's fun to platoon up with is critical. So, my personal opinion. Pays your money, takes your choice. Anyway, hope you found this useful. If you did, please consider giving it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. This has been Game Dom. Enjoy your games. Have a good Sunday. Try not to take it too seriously, and I'll see you again soon. Gamer Dom out.